Hi friends, just a quick one. I hope the thumbnail caught your attention. We're busy clearing out the cupboards, and I came across this soup packet that I bought a few years ago just for the hell of it, because I couldn't believe they called soup cock. But it seemed kind of appropriate actually, because I was listening to a guy called OwenBenjamin the other day. Never heard of the bloke until a few weeks ago. But because he's kind of talking on flat earth, and he's got a couple of 100,000 subs on YouTube, and he's apparently like a well-known dude, he potentially has a fantastic voice for the flat earth. So everybody's like super excited about this guy, just as we were when Kyrie Irving and Bob the rapper and Tequila Shaquila, or whatever it was called, came out. Oh, this is going to make a huge difference. Well, I went over and subbed to OwenBenjamin's channel, and I have to say, the guy's really funny. He is actually really funny. So I was like, yeah, this is really good. And the way he talks on Flat Earth, it's like he's throwing it down there. But then he went and interviewed Tommy Robinson. And I've been watching Tommy for 10 years. And, before I woke up to 9/11 and so on, I was surprised when he quit the English Defence League and then joined this Quilliam Foundation, a Muslim-based kind of thing. And now he's all anti-Muslim, and he's a very right-wing kind of guy. Actually, he's a very divisive, in my view, a very divisive kind of character. He is, what is it, Enoch Powell, or the he's a very right-wing guy. And if you were anything but white, and you'd probably not be all that happy if a guy like him was being touted as some hero. People don't know that Tommy Robinson is a Jewish lad, and I'll say that again, Tommy Robinson is Jewish. Nothing wrong with that, but why change your name? Why hide from who and what you are? And even why get involved in an organization that seems to be kind of Nazi-based, like anti-Semitic, as they call it, which isn't a term I necessarily recognize as associated with the Jewish people, but you know what I mean. So he runs a group, a Jewish guy runs a group who, gets a mob of shaven-headed knuckleheads to kind of go, yeah, we're the British, we're the whites, we're the whatever, we're the, no, they don't say they're just white. It's fair enough. I think they had some other color skins in their group. It's fair to say, but the English Defence League is really like a St. George's Cross. It's all the kind of, it's all the system dialectic. It's nothing different from having a left-wing Obama to a right-wing Trump. It's just the push-pull. So I couldn't watch the OwenBenjamin interview with Tommy Robinson for very long because he's such an annoying little twat. But I did go back and watch it. Go and look at the comments just now, because I wanted to write this video. Make this video. And the comments are very much in favor of, wow, yeah, what a great guy. Tommy is like the the leader of freedom for speech and all of this. So what it says to me, without wanting to belabor, is that OwenBenjamin is extremely right-wing kind of character, and that's not to his fault, because the guy is an ignorant twat. I don't mean ignorant twat. I mean just an ignorant. And he has yet to travel the road that many of us have traveled, which is to realize how we've been played, and how much this is a we've been designed to be dog eat dog kind of mindset. OwenBenjamin was banging on about homosexuality and UFC being, you know, like a lot of homosexual kind of symbology. But here's the thing for you, Big Bear. He likes to call himself Big Bear. All the gay boys like to call their hairy friends Bear. So that's pretty gay in itself. And you getting everybody to call you Bear, that's gay. You know, that's egoistic, gay bullshit. Yeah. You're coming over to England. He'll never see this, but he's coming over to England this week. I'd love him to come and talk to me. He's all 6'8", so coming up for a foot taller than me. I don't give a shit. He needs to learn that he's well off the mark when it comes to how the world is, and you know, and the nature of the game against us. But you see, what they're going to do in this country, in England, and they're doing it so well in America, is to create the divide, put walls in people's minds, or put walls in the country. And in the UK, you know, the Muslim dudes are being pushed into a corner. And they're doing this for the very same reason they pushed the Jews into a corner back in 1930s. You know, they want people to dislike them, to hate them, to feel aggrieved by them. And the governments, Labour and Conservative alike, over the last 20, 30 years, have had policies, and longer, but since I've been paying attention, have had policies that have only sought to damage economies and countries around the world, and create a sort of you know, a human traffic system, and to create, in the case of Europe, certainly this kind of influx of people with a very different ideology, with the very reason and intention that it's going to get scrotes like Tommy, the Jew, to step up and go, you know, here's a platform, and I'm going to talk on it, and I'm going to pull all of these sort of boys who are sitting in their basements, you know, fixating on how their jobs have been stolen by brown people, and how, you know, these you know, mullahs are coming here and creating these gangs of this and doing that and stealing the money and so on. All of this has been designed. All of this has been created so that we would feel fear, we would feel angry, we would feel like we needed to pull the drawbridge up. And Tommy's only playing into that kind of space that's been created for the rabid right wing. Remember, I grew up in South Africa, so I saw all the white racist rabid dogs like this Tommy boy carry on as they do. And here's this piece of irony for OwenBenjamin's lovers, his bear boys, his bareback riders. This is for you. I watched his show yesterday, and he was following comments and was reflecting back comments, and he was talking about how someone said, oh yes, if someone had done a violent act on a member of your family, it should be up to that family to address that violent act with that person. That should be a form of justice that he, Owen, the Big Bear, found appealing. Well, here's the news for you, my friends. That's Sharia law. That's Muslim law. That's how they do it in Islam, is it's the family that decides the punishment for the perpetrator of the crime. Yeah? That's Shirley. There's an old lady coming to my door. She's 83. I think. Maybe it's not. Oh, hi. We only did our meter reading about a week ago. 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
But you're energy company take their own and top up that periodically.
Yeah? Okay. Would you want to do the gas meter?
Well, that's on the outside.
Yeah.
I want to do both, actually.
Oh, right. I only gave them a reading about 2 weeks ago for the electric and the gas.
Yeah, but they still want another set.
Well, you can't have it today.
Can I tell your energy company why?
N-Power? Yes, because I gave them one just 2 weeks ago.
Right.
That's it. Thank
Don't
you.
want it read again.
No, not today. Thank you.
Right,
Good
I'll
luck.
pass your,
Thank you very
on.
much. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. No. So much for that. Fucking energy company. I'm into them for a lot of money. They want money from me, the thieves. Anyway, so that's my message, is if you're in the flat earth and you're looking to this OwenBenjamin as some kind of messiah that's going to turn it around and bring the right kind of publicity, I'm not feeling that now. He is a bigot, a right-wing bigot, and let's hope that he he can see through the shit. But right now, he's eating Tommy Robinson like he's his bear brother, bareback. It's disgraceful. Anyway, I won't bother with the reading the chat. Okay, why not? I'm here, and I've got my glasses. Good morning, Red-Eye Jedi. Yeah. Yes, Tommy, I made my mind up on Chris UK and my friend Chris. Hope you're well, brother. Been to see what he's about in It's All Controlled, as are all his Muslim people were in the crowds talking to all. Didn't see any hate against him that day. Yeah. Yeah, I not made my mind. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a control agent, and he's definitely, if you look at the sort of rabble-rousing that he gets involved in, it's the other side of what we see in Speaker's Corner, because in Speaker's Corner you see a lot of, angry Muslims. I'm not saying their anger is directed at the white people, but the immigration farce that has been created is just a, it's the dialectic, isn't it? It's to create the problem, and here's the solution. And given, I'm not anti-Jewish, this is not an anti-Jewish rant at all. Do I think that Jewish people are, some of them or people who are in control of this world, some of them are Jewish? Absolutely. Do I think that Jewish people, as they're known, are propagandized and deceived and misled? Absolutely. We've all been that. They don't have any special case. But, of course, this world is set aside as a sort of a unique title of, or they've created for themselves a unique title of being so badly put upon by the world. But, of course, the Holocaust was the Holocaust was not about killing 6 million Jews. Jews died, yes, but not 6 million, not a million. Look at the almanac. Their numbers barely dropped in the 10 years between the war. And of course, the concentration camps bear no real evidence of that level of death. That level of bone crushing, and disposal process, which is really difficult, and actually why I think the story about the communist purges of Russia in World War II may also be a fabrication to hide a mud flood, because I don't see how 20 million bodies don't create mountains of bones. When they tell you about, we had these fires and some of them are open, and the truth is that even in a modern day cremator, they burn the body until the wet stuff is gone, and then they crush the bones separately because the bones don't dissolve in the fire. You know, Red Eye said mainly football hooligan-style people. It's important to know, my friends, that the name Tommy Robinson that he chose for himself, because, you know, like so many actors, they get to choose their own names. The name he chose for himself was the name of an English famous football hooligan from the 70s. So he was all about getting that, yeah, what club are you in, mate? Yeah, getting that kind of mindset and grabbing those people. Hey, Rudy. Good day. Yes, not even his real name. Yes, that's his real name. Stephen Christopher Yaxley Lennon. But he's had a... Yes, Tommy runs with a football. You're right, my friend. He's had a number of names. Yeah, he's an agitator. I like that. Thank you very much. We're on the same page. I missed what I was saying about him. I was saying that Tommy Robinson is... well, it's more to do with OwenBenjamin. I mean, Tommy Robinson's been there all along, and so on and so on. But if a guy like OwenBenjamin we're seeing as like a flat Earth kind of flag bearer potentially, but he's like super right wing. That's not flat Earth. That's like a flat earther who still thinks that Donald Trump is real. Morning, guys. Hi, guys. Oh, hey, Tinted. Lovely to see you. Yeah, I mean, I'm always mindful about the Jews being like scapegoated and us being drawn into kind of seeing them as the because it sort of suits that whole narrative that's been built around the sort of the cult of Jewishism. I've had Jewish girlfriends, I've got Jewish friends, although I lost a good Jewish friend, the one who gave me the DMT, because I refused to support Israel, and it's kind of whatever, you know. I can no longer. I once upon a time would have done. I've visited Israel actually. You know, so I'm not, and my sister's married to a Jewish guy, as it happens. His second marriage, because you know Jewish people don't really do the first marriage outside of their own sort of brand. Let's see, what else did we have? Yeah, they are kind of untouchable. I you know, in that way, and that's why the whole sort of mythos around anti-Semitism and you know, they create that kind of place where people will, and I think this is why I'm very cautious about this, because I don't want to be pointing the finger at people in the same way as people pointed the finger at me and said, you know, you are the reason why South Africa is racist, you know, when I was got nothing to do with it. You know, I think the Jewish people are, in the main, in that same category. Yes, they might get jobs in certain situations much easier than other people, or preferred this or preferred that, or you know, more this or more that. You know, yeah, that's how the game works. I mean, look at how the British did really well while you know, subjugating, you know, the typically white British and the European whites did pretty well while subjugating other nations. And for that, those people, the Brits, you know, I'm seen as a white, you know, I'm seen as a devil by some people, some black people particularly, you know, because of that, you know. But again, it's not me, it's not you, it's not us, it's the clever programming that gets us to go along with certain themes and memes. Jew-Muslim Party, this is Spark. Jew-Muslim part of the divide and rule, yes. Israel relates to Bible prophecy, and the fake Jews tie into this. These Satanists want every opposite to show how goodness. No. Look, I mean, we live in this world where and some people say, you know, Freemasonry is a Jewish thing. And we live in a world where they are intentionally, whoever they are intentionally putting us through this mill of divide and conquer, divide and conquer. So why are they doing it? Knowingly. When you say the fake Jews, I think about the people who in the research community, we all know about the Ashkenazi story, and that 95% of the Jewish people today are of this Ashkenazi backdrop, from the Caucasus, it seems, from what we now would consider to be Tartaria. So, what do we really know? And when I think about the 12 tribes of Israel, I think about all of humanity. This is why I'm cautious to kind of be, get caught up in the Tommy Robinson and the big Owen Bear, them and us, right wing, left wing, because I'm making the same mistake that they are. But I do think that there's probably 12 groups or 12 tribes. That number 12 comes up so much. The theory of Phoenicians, I have to look into the Phoenician theory, and I probably need to invite my friend Lee Mowat around for a cup of tea, Flat Earth British sub, because he knows quite a lot about that. Yes, we're in agreement. Hey, hi, Curtis, Flat Reality. I saw you on that chat earlier. Nice to see you again. Spark says, quote from Churchill history, will be kind to me, for I intend to write it. Yes. Oh, history will be kind to me, for I intend to write it. Yes. Yes. And Hitler, well, they're all from the same club, aren't they? Yeah, I think I'd like to think that Spark and I, we're not alone in thinking that the Jewish people in general, they are led into this by the Zionist leaders. These names you use, I don't really know them. Again, these are just titles that are given to people, and we don't know. I mean, the monarchy. What do we know about who they really are and what they really are? And I've stood steps, just a few meters away from the Duke of so-called Duke, the Queen's husband, and Harry and William, and just Harry's got a copy of my book. Back in 2014, I was eyes wide shut. Totally. Curtis says The Walking Dead is a book about the white folk, apparently. Yeah, there's someone who I really like. You would have all come across her. Her name will come to me. Rosette Delacroix, great researcher. But when I hear them, she talks about like the white genocide. I think I'm falling. That's a trap too, because yes, there's a white genocide, but there's a black genocide. There's a Chinese, Asian, South American, North American. We've been African. We've been genociding everyone. Somebody, my friend Amarok, who's a, I think the right term they use is First Nation over in Canada. So he's of the tribal Indian, Red Indian, I think is a term that's also acceptable. He's from that kind of background, and they're very aware, very conscious of how those folks were genocided. And I think, and I mean, was it a mud flood, or was it, did we, go and poison and kill them and shoot them and all these things? And that's, I have no argument with that kind of, line of historical narrative. But I wanted to remind him this morning, and I'll remind you too, that the Europeans would have also been as tribal, as close to the land, as close to nature as those good people were once upon a time. And that those Europeans, we might have to be going back 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 5,000 years, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's only 500 years. But at a time, Europeans were good and simple people who lived with the land. And that was changed, that paradigm was changed, which is why I think the slave term comes from Slavia, Slavic kind of origins. And because we were all initially brought under the kosh, brought to heel, pussified, as I like to say, and are now under, and have been so browbeaten. Now we're the kind of the managers because we've been softened and prepared and put into those positions where we no longer care for nature and we no longer care for one another, and then we're good enough to go out and beat others more natural than us over the head and force them into some form of servitude. And then in time, those same very First Nation folks or original Africans say, like in South Africa, gee, they'll be just as happy to rush up into the boardroom and put on the expensive leather shoes and the tie and the suit and profiteer over anybody else. Color doesn't matter anymore anyway, or origin or anything. It's not important. You see plenty of black people. I mean, the number of black people, black-skinned folks driving around in the flashiest of cars in Johannesburg, while in South Africa, whilst we've still got millions of people living in shanty towns that were blamed on the apartheid government. Now we're 25 years since then, and there's the excuses for not having changed a lot for those people are thin on the ground, but they continue to blame the whites. They continue to blame apartheid. It's the old dialectic, them and us, them and us, them and us. But it's not unique to Europeans to want to control people around them and to be greedy and to covet and to hold and so on. It seems to be the case that it doesn't matter where you're from. I had a flat once a few years ago. I rented it out to a Chinese couple, and they left without paying the last month's rent. So, I mean, we're all in it together. There's no exceptions here. So people have been chatting while I've been yabbering. Oh, you say Tommy Robinson is an open Zionist, as are all people. I wasn't aware that he was open, but I think that it's important for me. It's important that I'm trying to kind of make this video really about saying, OwenBenjamin is either has a long journey still to do to kind of get his humanity back. But let's not. I mean, I sent him not that he'll ever read it. I sent him a message the other day saying, "Hey, you're coming to England. Why don't you hook up with us in Speaker's Corner or something?" But that was before the Tommy Robinson thing, and now that I'm like, shit, this guy ain't all he's cracked up to be. And in fact, he's the perfect kind of anti-flat Earth shill, because if he's coming in on a bit like, I mean, I don't know about Eric Dubé, but it's fair to say that his kind of love affair with Adolf Hitler doesn't do much credit to flat Earth. And I think that if this is a kind of like a right-wing sort of derailment attempt, because Tommy's not interested in flat Earth, by the way, because the flat Earth is really very much against the control paradigm. And if Tommy does come into the flat Earth, it's because they want to change the message up. So hey, this is a very interesting development. I think I'm very interested to see how this all unfolds. Well, I'm getting behind on the comments. Yeah. Fev's good at the. He's a good guy. He's a big part of the reason why I started this channel up. I ran into him in a hospital actually the day my father-in-law died last year. Spark, you know, about the Palestine Israel thing, all the border writing and drawing and so on is all about creating enmity, creating separation, creating borders for control. And I have a feeling that the Palestinian Authority lies in bed with the Big Bear and Israel. I think they are in the same bed, and I've heard people say that, and I will give you an interesting segue into something that I saw for myself, and that was a few years ago. I was trying to get into do a bit of journalism and so on, and I was doing some freebie work for a free South African newspaper, and they offered me the opportunity to go and sit in a press conference with a South African Minister of Mines or some title. And this was in the wake of the Marikana disaster, where a number of people, and it may be 33, I'll have to go and check it out. It may have been 33, it might be 33, in which case it's the hoax code, isn't it? But 30 odd people, some people, a group of people were mowed down by police officers at a mine, a platinum mine called Marikana. They'd been on strike for some time, and the story goes that the owners were getting testy because their mines were shut down, and they then pushed the police perhaps to go and break up the thing, and it ended up in a bit of a shootout, and so all these people died. And that's tragic. And I was like, pre 9/11 knowledge, so I was hook, line, and sinker in there and trying to, glean what I could. And in this press conference was sitting in the crowd was the UK leader of the Democratic Alliance, which is meant to be the sort of the opposition to the ANC in South Africa. And this young guy was. I thought he was going to give this guy a grilling about, what are the answers? Why don't we have any answers, and so on. And the guy who, minister, was like smiling his way through a very kind of like glib Q&A session. And in the end of it all of the main actors went off to the pub together. I got invited along to the pub. I couldn't believe it. And I was sitting with the ANC's kind of guy and the DA guy, and they're all like pally with each other. How is that? How do you guys feel comfortable sitting in the same room? When you're clearly on different sides of the spectrum, but because they're owned by the same beast, I guess it's comfortable enough for them. And I think this is the case in Palestine. I think the Palestinian Authority, the Yasser Arafat and all of those kind of peace talk, the two-state solution and the Bill Clinton bollocks. 33 minutes and 32 seconds. It's kind of, let me see if it's going to go on. Oh, it's 33. Thanks, I'm back. And we're having some nice discussion here. Yeah, okay, so that was that point. The Queen is German, yes, Saxe Coburn, that's DJ. Hi, bro. DJ's a new friend, and from Pretoria, actually. Thanks for all that information you gave me earlier on. Very useful. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, I suspect they've had, but more than that, DJ, they fashion themselves as the new rulers after the mudblood. I think they know it's coming. I think if they don't push the button, they have some way of knowing that it's coming. That's why they have these deep underground bases. That's why they have that seed bank up in Norway, if it's real. These things are designed to be in the event of that kind of a thing, as perhaps the Star Forts were. Nice conversation earlier on, and thanks very much for that information. But yeah, you'll find, I'm like, we have to find a way of this without hating on our brothers and sisters. Yeah, media's owned by the same people. So Tommy Robinson came out. He's on the piss saying all sorts of truth. That'd be good to see. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Red-Eyed Jedi. I found the same with Dill beyond the curve. Something doesn't sit right with him either. Yeah, and of course the word Dill backwards, which is what they like to do, is lead. So that's just a coincidence, perhaps. I've never really resonated with Dill. 3 years ago, it was like, yeah, it's nice to have someone speaking so stridently, but he hasn't changed his tune at all. And he's just like, he's just like one of these kind of right-wing Bible bashers, I know he's not bashing the Bible at all, but he's just kind of, this, that, like trying to stoke up that kind of football hooliganism mindset, that's what I think. And partly why I'm, at pains to kind of be the antithesis of that kind of setup, And Eric Dubé, I don't know. I would love that he was, legit. I would love that he was legit. But, the jury has to be out. And, as I've said before, I put more of my life out here than perhaps some people would suggest I should, partly because I want people to know that where I'm coming from is the heart, and it's real, and there's nothing to hide. Yeah, my travails, and not all of them. I don't like to admit all of my travails, but I put it all out here, warts and all, and hopefully that's enough for to satisfy people, at least initially, that I'm doing what I think is the best that I should be doing for humanity, for flat Earth, for our future, our children. My son's just woken up. I need to make this short. How's it? No worries. I like a point. Wow. Spot. I'd bet he'd bet everything I have on the fact that Dale is Satanist. Again, if it was so obvious, his reaction video said all of me. No. Yeah. I mean, sometimes, the people who are so angry and so kind of vociferous, they're almost trying to cow people into submission, Be my way. If you don't do this my way, then fuck you. Okay. It's not productive and conducive to the kind of loving, if you haven't heard me say this before, I stumbled, actually, what's your first name again? DJ. When I was in Pretoria in 2015, I said to you, I was in early 2015, just after I'd found 9/11 and started looking into the flat Earth. I was on a tour there and ran into an old friend, this Jewish friend who won't talk to me anymore. And he gave me the DMT trip that showed me that I wasn't a material monkey beast that had somehow dragged myself out of the slop. I was, in fact, a divine creature of some wave energy, love. I mean, some immense love paradigm. In fact, this whole ether that we live in is almost like a love energy. We just don't know it anymore. Yeah, I don't know if I lost my thought there. Yeah, hate is wasted energy. Oh, mate. I got to look into the topic. Yeah, Curtis. Okay, cool. Well, you know what? I mean, we're all learning things. I was just saying to my wife this morning, the mud flood stroke Tartaria thing has really given like my research or my sense of who I am and my sense of this mission, although it adds some confusion to like, wow, how little we know, it also kind of reinforces the gravity of the situation that we're in and the import of what we need to be doing. But not only that there's much more actually to come. There's things hiding in the woodwork, I think, that are going to come out that are going to be even more attractive to people that are still asleep. So we got to stay nimble. We got to keep moving. And I mean, I 2016, my wife was like, "Oh, you're just banging on about flat Earth all the time." You know what I mean? Because she only really realized that the Earth was flat towards the end of 2017. And, you know, she was, or rather, she was willing to discard her oversized science ball. Jedi. That's where I go. Yeah, love and resonation. Love is eternal energy. Yeah. You like DJ likes duvet. Yeah. I mean, you know, no foul there, brother. And you know, he's put a lot of incredible stuff out. And I was saying this about some of the other big players, the American big players. You know, even if they are actors in a place of signposting and so on, I embrace that because it is the system that we're in, you know. Someone once told me that Eric Dubay was Rick Clay. Do you remember Rick Clay? I mean, and Eric is Rick, isn't it? And Dubay and Clay are very close. I suggested that on Eric's channel once, and he blocked me. But someone said that, you know, and Rick Clay was one of those people who died apparently. You know, you remember that he was the one who exposed the Zion message within the Olympics logos for the Beijing and the London Olympics, and then he disappeared, died apparently. So it's the perfect foil, isn't it? You know, you drop this bomb here, and then you go and drop another bomb. You know, as a new character, you go and drop another bomb somewhere else. You know, his accent doesn't, you know, Eric Dubay's accent isn't the most strong accent. Not that I'm a North American expert on linguistics, but when I first saw Eric Dubay, 2015, he was doing the sort of the Wing Chun stuff, and he was like a Wing Chun expert. But the guy was doing a video where he's wobbling, and you know, he really didn't seem that steady in 2015. So it felt to me like he'd only just discovered it, rather than being some kind of Wing Chun expert. Those are my thoughts. I mean, I'm not trying to create a division. It is the fact that most people have some kind of view on whether or not these people are actors and whether or not it matters. For me, you know, good, bad, or otherwise, he has absolutely, you know, woken a lot of people up. And some of the first info I saw on Flat Earth was the Eric Dubay 200 proofs. That caught my attention. So, but there again, this system is about telling you the truth eventually. So they need people to tell that, you know. It is a dichotomy, my friends. Yeah, I mean, you did ask us in Peru. Yeah, good for you, bro. That really does help. Good morning, Mr. Mensa. That's a nice name. Nice name. Can't watch Eric. Never trusted. I go by instinct and admit I'm wrong on occasion, but not often. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, his FE material is legit, but you know, my friend DJ, I'm not sure of the azimuthal equidistant. I'm not sure of that, and I wouldn't want to pin my hat on that. There are other models. Sounds like my baby needs me. Yeah. Rick Clay. Oh, elaborate. Rick Clay. Rick Clay. Did I not say enough on him? You can look him up. He is. You know, he is. I think his videos will still be up. But he, you know, the Zion, the 2012 logo is. You just turn the 2012 and it spells Zion. So go and check it out. Was there? I don't know, Curtis. I mean, about Eric's uncle or grandfather. I mean, this is the problem, isn't it? I mean, people can have Freemasons in their family. It doesn't, and they can be Jewish and still want truth and not be tainted, so far as that's possible. So I don't want to be like being all slinging mud around and casting aspersions. Obviously I have done on the Tommy Robinson thing, and I think OwenBenjamin, he needs to know that if he's coming to Flat Earth and bringing all his right-wing rhetoric, he's not going to find many friends. But my boy is awake, and I must go. Bad stuff didn't used to happen in yeah. This is really fun and interesting. Just Rudy, the IRA terrorism. Yeah, surely that's all part of dialectic, eh? When I arrived in the UK in 1988, as a 20-year-old boy after the war, I was like, oh, they've got their own shit going on down here. But I think now that was all about creating reasons for more police powers, more government control, yeah, and also from stopping us looking at things, And I think, as we've seen in the Middle East, a foil for keeping people away from certain buildings and certain things. Anyway, I do need to go. I do thank